I call home. Tuscarora to the mighty Ohio, hills of old Muscatine on these hills that I call home.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Orijenn Fibers. If you're new, thanks for checking me out. This is our second episode. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, weaving, dyeing, fine arts, anything that has to do with fiber arts I'm going to talk about from time to time. This is the second week of this podcast. I did record last week. I promised to have an episode in 2 weeks, but I got enough knitting done to have one this week. So I'm excited about that. I just did an episode with my sister. I have a twin sister who lives in Zanesville as well, but the audio wasn't very good. So we're gonna record that again next week. So you'll get to meet my twin sister. We are identical, and she's gonna talk about some of the fibery things and other farm things that she does around where I live. So that'll be exciting. Today I'm going to talk about some finished objects that I have. I'm going to start with something I had last week, which is a dash of Alchemy. And I finished this in about 6 or 7 days. So it turned out really, really nice. It smells really good. I used some patchouli wool wash on it. It was really fun. I used Toad Hollow yarns. I used the pink is Hagrid's Umbrella, and the blue navy color is Dementor's Kiss from them. I don't know if those colors are available right now, but they do have a really great website. Once again, it's Toad Hollow. So if you want to check them out, you can find them either on Etsy or on their website. I really enjoyed working on this shawl because it was something that I could do that had a little bit of thinking behind it. I had to work on this lace and follow a chart. The pattern is really fun because it is charted and then it's also written out. So depending on what kind of learner you are, you can use either one and they are well written. It also has these garter panels and then these little lace panels in between. So it turned out really nice. I think it'll make a nice shawl, even for the summer, because it's a fingering weight shawl. It takes 2 skeins, not the whole skein. I didn't use the whole skein for both of these, or both of them, but it's pretty nice. So I really, really enjoyed this project. So this is going to be released by Rhyflower Knits. It was a test knit. It's going to be released September 7th. And we did have a giveaway last week for people who commented on the podcast. And the winner is Janice. And I know Janice, she lives here locally in Zanesville. She is a fiber artist. She's a member of our local art gallery called ZAP, Zanesville Appalachian Arts Project is what it's called. So I'm really excited she gets this pattern, and I can't wait to see what she does with it. So my next project is also a test knit. It only took me 2 days to finish this project. It's called the Galette Hat, Galette hat. It's going to be released July 24th, and it's by a bee in a bonnet. So she has a lot of really nice patterns. I've looked at her patterns on Ravelry. She also has a really nice Instagram. Her photos are really beautiful and well done. So if you want to check her out on Instagram or on Ravelry, I would recommend that. You can see here, there are little tiny cables. This is the little cable detail. And I learned how to cable without a cable needle. I'd never done that before, but I looked up this stitch on YouTube, and the video shows you how to do it with a cable needle and without a cable needle. So I ended up doing it without a cable needle, which I liked. It was really, really simple, made it a lot faster. And this is in fingering weight yarn. And here's the yarn that I used. It's a natural color with specks of green, brown, and yellow. It is by Farmer's Daughter Fibers. I got this at 614 Knit Studio in Columbus, Ohio. I live in Zanesville, so it's an hour away from us. It's a really nice yarn store, and so I bought it there, I think in the wintertime when they reopened. And it is called Legends of the Little People. It is a non-superwash. I don't know if you can see that. It is 100% merino, 438 yards. So I have some left. I can do something with this. I don't know if I can get shorty socks out of it. We'll have to see. That'd be really, really nice. So I really enjoyed that knit. The last thing I want to show as a finished object, I finished this about a month ago, but I think it's worth mentioning. It's a huge shawl. It's color work. And you could wear it many ways. You could wear it around your back or around your neck. This is by Fiber Tales. She has a podcast. Her podcast is really good. She's a designer and she has several different patterns. It's been released already. This was not a test knit, and I knit it in Rama fennel garn, which I got from the Woolly Thistle. I picked these colors because one of her test knitters had knit it in this color combination, and I really, really loved it. So I knitted it in Rama. You can knit this in superwash as well. That's what I think the designer knit this in more of a superwash yarn, I believe. You can always do it with that as well. My favorite thing about knitting the shawl was that it was knit in the round. She actually came up with a really cool idea of steeking this shawl. So you can see it was knit like this. So it made this really strange shape when you were knitting it. It didn't look very big as you were knitting it, but it really, once you steeked it, it was huge. So you can see here, you have this little binding or this edging that you fold over and sew to the back. And it's really nicely finished. She did a really, really good job of coming up with that technique. Casting it on is a little bit fiddly. I actually used double pointed needles because it only starts with a few stitches and it starts in the round. So that's the hardest part, is getting that started. But once you get started, the color work is really fun and it knitted up really, really quickly. So that was super, super fun. I love this project. Okay, so works in progress. I'm only going to show 2 things today. I have other things on the needles, but my Joji Locatelli cable sweater, I didn't get much done on that this week. I was finishing up those test knits, and then I started a new test knit. Also, I have some spinning to show you. So I'm going to start with my my cable socks. These are a test knit, once again, for Rhyflower Knits. Her website is rhyflowerknits.com. She also has an Instagram. So this is what they look like. It's been a whole lot of fun test knitting different projects. If you've never done a test knit before, I kind of recommend it. It's fun to see how designers think, find mistakes, and it's helping me really think about how you would design a knitted item. So that's been really helpful. My background is in fashion design. I think I talked about this last time, so I'd like to start designing at some point. So it's been fun just seeing how patterns are written and how to find mistakes and work with the math and everything like that. So I feel like it's a stepping stone for me. This pattern is charted and it's also written out like her other pattern. And so I use the chart because I work better with charts. I'm a visual learner, and so it's been really, really simple to follow. I also really like test knits because there's a really fun community in each one. So no matter if there's 4 testers or 15, like the Galette Hat that I just did, we have an Instagram group and everyone's sharing pictures of their dogs, sheep, goats, alpacas, and sharing what they're working on too. So it's been really, really fun. And then I'm doing test knits on Yarn Pond, which is a great website that I found, and there's a chat room there as well. So everyone's just sharing their projects and having a great time. I am knitting mine in a really busy yarn. You can still see the cables. And I really like how she did this construction. You can either do it toe up or cuff down. I always knit my socks cuff down. I'm just more comfortable with that. That's how I learned how to knit socks. And I like how she is having you do an afterthought heel. So it's hard to see, but I have my waist yarn in here. You can see the little tail sticking out. And so of course I knit, you can knit as long as you want your leg to be, but I did 3 repeats. And then I put in my waist yarn, and then I'm knitting, you knit the bottom stockinette, and then the top you keep going with the pattern. So it's really, really simple. Once you get the pattern, I say after you do it a couple times, it's really easy. So if you've knit a sock before, this is totally doable. This pattern is being released in September. She doesn't have a date yet, so it's really a beautiful pattern. So I recommend knitting it. So hopefully I finish the body or the foot today. And I think I'm gonna do the heels once I have both of them done. I'm gonna do the heels at the same time so they're exactly the same. So that's what I'm working on there. I am actually using a cable needle. I'm finding that I'm a little bit faster using the cable needle with these cables. So that's what I'm using. So that's been really fun. My next, and I want to show the yarn that I'm working with if I have it here. I don't think, oh, I have the yarn, but here's the tag. This is what I meant, the tag. So this is the dyer stitch together, and it's Rad Yarn for Rebels. And this colorway was made, this is an LYS colorway made for 614 Knit. I don't know if they still have any, but I really like it because it has like salmon colors. It has these really bright pops of pink. That's my favorite part. It's white and black. So it's been really fun to work with. I don't know if it's great for a cable knit, but because you don't see the cables as well, but I really enjoy this yarn. So it's been so fun to work with. All right, my second thing that I'm working on is spinning. I am spinning my Shetland wool from my own sheep. I do have 7 sheep, and they're Shetlands. This is from one of my first girls that I got. This is Mary Brown. Mary Brown is a Maroot Shetland, which means her wool is very, very fine. And she's my only brown ewe, or any of my sheep. I don't have any other brown sheep. So I've been spinning her up. It's not exactly consistent, but it'll probably turn out as a fingering, probably more of a DK weight if I do a 2-ply. So I've been working on this very slowly. I haven't really had a good spinning mojo lately, so this is something that I need to put more time into. I've been knitting way too much. Okay, so acquisitions. I do have some fun things that I got in the mail, and I have a book I want to share. So the thing I got first, I got this a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to share this. I have 2 skeins of this. This is Toad Hollow Yarns. This is their new colorway Joy. It's a superwash 80-20 merino nylon mix, 400 yards for a fingering weight yarn. They had this as a pre-order because the dyes were sold out. And so they had to wait for the dye to come in. And I just think it's a really, really fun cheery pink. I tend to be attracted to more natural colors generally, and I wear natural colors, but every once in a while I like to have some bright colors as well. So I really like this pink, and I got 2 skeins of this. I do have plans for it unless a fun test knit pops up and I want to knit that instead. The pattern is called Waiting for Rain. I think it's kind of hard to see the shawl, and it's a person throwing it up in the air, so it's upside down. But it's a short row shawl construction with lace. So I think that'll make I think this yarn will make a really pretty shawl, and I love how the lace is like in here with the short rows. It reminds me of the shawl that I did last week, the Stephen West shawl that I did with the short rows, except this is fingering and that was DK. So I think this is gonna be a really fun project to work on soon, once I get done with some tests. I have two more. I have the socks and then I have a shawl. I'm still waiting on some yarn for the shawl, so I'll have that to show next week, that yarn. I had some issues with PayPal. I'm not sure what's going on. I sent the payment through my bank, through PayPal, and it took like 8 days to process for some reason. So hopefully, it was processed 2 days ago. It hasn't shipped yet, so hopefully it ships soon. And then I can show that shawl that I'm gonna be working on and the yarn that I get. I got some really pretty colors coming. So my next thing is really something I'm excited about. This is Neighborhood Fiber Company, and it's called Shadow. It's Polworth, 100% Polworth wool, and it's 4 ounces. It looks like some really nice top. I have spun their Polworth before. I think this is the only kind of fiber that they carry. I knit it I spun it last summer on my e-spinner, and I really liked it. I have a nice connection to Neighborhood Fiber Company. I went to college in Baltimore, Maryland for my master's degree, and their shop was only about 3 minutes away by car, if you took a car. I heard that they moved their studio or their store, but it used to be in an old fire station. It was really, really cool. They had a beautiful dye area where they taught dyeing classes and other crafting classes. And then upstairs they had a really nice store with all of their roving, or this is top, and with their yarns as well. So I really, really enjoy their stuff. And I also ordered a pin that was a Black Lives Matter pin. It's a little sheep, a black sheep with a Black Lives Matter on it. It's a enamel pen, and it was a pre-order, so they shipped this first, and that should be coming. They said they're gonna start shipping those out soon, so I'm excited to see that little pin. It'll be super, super cute. So that's coming, and I think they still have those pins up for sale on their website. Last time I checked, those were still there. They also have some bags, I believe. So I really enjoyed that. I also have my stitch markers, which I have to find somewhere on this table. There they are. Last week I showed some stitch markers from, let's see, they were from, I think it's Creating with Sticks, or is it Knitting with Sticks? Anyway, I'll put that in the show notes. I ordered their cat stitch markers that I showed last episode. If you didn't see it, you can go back and watch that. But they gave me a coupon code for 10% off if you spend $5 or more. So I decided I would check out, they have an Etsy store, and then they have a website. And I think it's one woman. And so I saw that they had dog stitch markers, and this says Stitch Barkers, which is super cute. And they are little, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. They're little dog heads. It's hard to see. There's a little nose there at the bottom, and then the ears. Super cute. So I can't wait to use those. Now I have cats and dogs. So I have 2 cats from the shelter, and I have 2 dogs. I have a shelter dog that is a mixed breed, smaller dog, and then I have a Saint Bernard. So yeah, we are a full household. I also want to share one more thing with you guys. This is a book, and I haven't started reading it yet, but I thought it was worth mentioning. I'm reading a couple other books right now that have to do more. I'm reading a fiction book, and I'm reading a more of a theory book from grad school that I'm rereading. This is more of a fine arts based book. It is written by Whitechapel Gallery. They have a whole set of these, and I think they might still be releasing more of these as well. I have read The Everyday and The Rural, which were both very helpful. it's not what you would expect them to be like. They are a curated grouping of articles that people have written about the topic that the book is about. So this one's about craft, and I can't wait to open this up. It's still in the wrapping. I got it a few weeks ago. It's on Amazon. You can find all their books on Amazon. If you like fine arts, if you like theory, I know this is kind of a niche topic. This might be something that you would like to read. So I wanted to share that, and I can't wait to read that. So I also want to just talk about a few things that have been going on just in general. A few days ago, or yesterday, I believe it was 2 days ago. We were working with the cattle, so my dad asked me to help him sort and tag the calves this year. We had 14 or 15 new calves this year. They're all super cute. I think we had one bull and the rest are heifers, which means they're female. And that's usually a good thing because we can breed them and they can be on the farm for a long time. So that's really exciting. We're having a good year with the cattle. Something that's really interesting that's going on that people may not realize is we used to have a stand at the farmer's market. And so we used to sell different cuts of beef. We have grass-fed cattle. We used to share different cuts of beef and ground beef. We also used to sell eggs as well. This year with COVID, it's been a little bit different. It's hard to get your meat or your animals processed or butchered. So my dad called in, he told me this, he called in earlier when COVID had just started, and the wait to get an animal butchered is about a year. So we can't get any new meat put out into the community until that opens up in January. And that's what we think we're looking at. Usually it doesn't take nearly that long. So you're usually put on some kind of list, and then they just go down the line. It's the same thing with processing wool. So my sheep were shorn in May, and I sent in my wool. I still have a lot of wool from last year, and I wanted to get my wool processed again. I get it washed and I get it carded. I have some of it turned into roving and some of it turned into bats. And I use a really nice mill in close to Cincinnati, about an hour away from Cincinnati, Ohio. There are not very many mills in this country. I don't know if people know that, but I think we only have 2 or 3 in Ohio. So it's about a 4-month wait to get my wool processed because you wouldn't expect this, but there are more people with sheep that need their wool processed. And of course there are mills. So it's not a big deal. I have a lot of wool left over. So I'll have probably more than enough to get through until I get the rest of it processed. Or this year's crop. I also want to share some fine arts things that I've been working on. I was featured in a opening of a show this week, or last week actually, end of last week. It was Saturday that I did an interview with Woman Made Gallery. It's in Chicago. They're having a digital exhibition. And my artwork is about being a shepherdess and a fiber artist. So I have a piece in that show. There are about 120 artists that are featured in this show, and they selected 7 artists for interviews for that. And I was selected to be one of those artists. So if you are interested in watching that video, it's a show called Home, which is about being home over COVID and what that means to different people. And so that interview can be found on Facebook. I'll link that down below. It's a really nice video. It has there's 7 different categories that they're featuring and that they're interviewing with. And then there's a couple of videos for each different category. So it was really fun to be a part of if you're interested in anything that has to do with fine arts. Also, I was supposed to have a show here in town at a place called Zap Gallery, Zanesville Appalachian Arts Project. It's a artist-run gallery here in town. And unfortunately, it's going to be canceled. I'm just going to put my artwork in the front window of the gallery because of COVID. So that's not a big deal. I can have another show later on. But COVID is affecting lots of different aspects of our life. So the positive thing for me is that I've gotten lots and lots of knitting done. So that's pretty nice. I'm enjoying that. I do want to announce the giveaway from last week if you've stuck with me through all of this. Janice, who I know from Zap in Zanesville, is a fiber artist. She won the giveaway last week. She won the A Dash of Alchemy pattern. It has not been released yet. It's going to be released once again on September 7th. So I'm going to let the designer know, and she will get a copy of that once it's released. So that's pretty exciting. I also have another giveaway. This designer has been really generous to me. And so Rhyflower knits, like I showed these earlier, these are the socks. If you like knitting socks and you're and you want to knit these, she's gonna give away one pattern to a viewer. So for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have people comment below the video. If you would like to be a part of the giveaway, just leave a comment and I will pick a person from this week's or next week's. I'll do a random number generator to pick the person, or I'll draw out of a hat or something to choose somebody. So that's gonna be something fun as well. I don't think I have anything else to share. Next week, my twin sister, I think, will be here. In a couple weeks, I am going on a short 3-day vacation with my whole family, my sisters, their husbands, and their kids. I have a niece and 2 nephews on that side of the family, and we're all going to go to Lake Erie and stay in a little house there and enjoy our time. There's a little beach right down the way there. I believe it's a short walk away. So that'll be a whole lot of fun. We're trying not to do anything too crazy during COVID and we want to stay in the state just to try to stay safe and stay away from people. I hope to find a fun yarn shop there. So if you know any yarn shops in Lake Erie, please let me know in the comments so I can go there and check it out, get a skein of yarn or 2, and then share that with you guys as well. If you stuck with me through this whole episode, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, please comment below, and I will include the show notes and where you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as well. Have a great week, everybody.